One of the craziest new aspects of the war between Russia and Ukraine are the drone interceptors. I mean, think about this real quick. There are soldiers that identify an enemy drone, pass along its information to an interceptor unit that flies up, finds it, follows it, and brings it down. Now, it's these drone-on-drone interceptions that are helping to save lives all across the front every single day. And to hear more about how that's done, we're chatting today with Mortimer and Kaiser of the Ukrainian 429th Unmanned Systems Regiment Achilles. Now, this is part of a new fundraiser that we have at Zynga's Pod to help pick up these drone interceptors for Achilles to bring down even more Russian drones. For those interested and able, the link to contribute is in the description below. And with that, let's get to the conversation. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to talk today. This is something that we all see playing out in the war, and I don't think we have a full understanding of what exactly this air defense capabilities looks like. So I was hoping you could maybe talk through a little bit, either Mortimer or Skies or whoever wants to start with this, but what does air defense look like in a unit like Achilles?
Actually, our air defense against drones are very complex, and we are just a small part of it. We are operating with interceptor units and try to shoot down everything that flies over the sky in Ukraine, working with drones against drones. There is multiple other lines of air defense, but we're familiar to only particular with this part.
Well, I think that's an area that people would be interested in hearing more about, because we generally understand the missiles, surface-to-air missiles, generally understand, cannons or machine guns shooting at these weapons, but drones, bringing down drones is kind of unique. Are you guys focused on going after reconnaissance drones, bomber drones, everything that's in the sky, or does it matter?
We specialized in multiple kind of drones and multiple types of
Targets?
Yes, different targets, sky targets, maybe even ground targets, everything.
Yeah, it actually heavily depends on a vehicle itself that we operate in, because some vehicles, some aircrafts can provide possibility to shoot down different targets, and sometimes it's more specific for against only one type of drone.
Can you give an example of what those different types might be?
Yeah, like recon drones and those Shahed drones, you can have some drones to intercept both those targets, but sometimes you have just specifically on one type of target drones. There is drones that can intercept Shahed, but they don't work on recon drones, for example.
Interesting. I would have thought those would be in the same category because they're both relatively large, a little bit slower, but you're saying some munitions or some interceptors only work for recon or only work for Shahed?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What makes that the case? What is the challenge where it works one place and not the other?
It would depend on target itself, because Shahed and recon drones, they act a little bit different. So you need to have different approach to intercept those.
Yeah, you have different targets, and you have to have a specific unit to destroy the target.
Makes sense. So we've seen a few different iterations just in the videos that come out where in some cases it looks like the interceptor is blowing up, it's detonating. So it's a one-way drone in a sense, but others where there's been nets or sticks crashing into drones. Do you guys use all of those? Are there some that you prefer over others?
Yeah, usually basic model is just use kamikaze, just intercept
the explosion.
Yeah. So other types, they're more like experiment, as far as I know. As I said, there is multiple part of air defense. We work on with those blows.
So the focus then is the primary ones you guys are using are explosive interceptors, kind of like FPV style drones. When we hear FPVs, we think of one way. It's not coming back. Once it launches, it's going to find a target. It's not flying back home to be used again. Is that the same for the interceptors?
Mostly, yes. We have different types of interceptors, but most of them are one way.
One time.
Yes.
So you're detecting drones and then sending up the interceptor. They're not up looking for drones throughout the day.
No, it's very hard task to find target. The main difference between intercepting air target and hitting something on the ground is that the target is quite nimble and can be anywhere on a different height, on a different position. So it's extremely hard to find where is the target, and usually you have to have some help with this from other unit. That's all.
So, yeah, the idea of not just finding another drone, but then being able to explain to somebody else where it is and how to get there. If that's happening between units, that's incredible. The communication needed to do that is not easy. How do you go about doing that? Once you identify a drone, because I would imagine the ones that spot them they have a longer time in flight, and then you're passing that information off. I can understand, I think the audience can understand how to talk a pilot onto a target when it's on the ground based off of a tree line or coordinates or a building. How do you do that when it's in the air moving?
Usually we have some instruments, some tools for that.
Gotcha.
Because it's really complicated and big amount of information that you cannot just send on the telephone, like, somewhere over there. And yeah, we have some instrument to transfer this information. And that cooperation is crucial part, because as I said, on striking drone, you can always think that something that you can hit is still there, like tank or some hideout. And here is situation is completely different. You have to know precise information because targets move very fast.
Is it a different type of pilot, a different skill set that does these interceptor missions? Because my understanding is you have some, Skyzer, you mentioned you're a bomber pilot. My understanding is it's a different skill set than somebody that flies FPVs. What about interceptors? Is that a totally different skill set?
You about piloting, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I meant that I'm bomb loader.
Gotcha.
A starter pilot. I'm just learning to be a pilot. And yes, you have different type of units to operate, different type of drones, and of course the multi-rotor has different. You have to have different skills than with a wing, and of course when you and every specific unit built for the specific target. And you have to know how to operate every of them.
So across the unit, you have people able to do everything,
Yes.
but individual soldiers might be better in one area or another.
Of course, it works everywhere in life.
The basic skill for piloting is the same for every unit. There is some specific based on target and destroying target in the end, because there is some slight difference. And of course, it's better to have pilot that experienced in one direction, but the basic skills are pretty the same.
When one of the challenges we know with larger munitions is you always want to bring them down, but sometimes there's something beneath that, right? A city, for instance, and shooting it out of the sky is great, but it might land and blow up where civilians live. When you guys are going after some of the larger drones like Shaheds, is that something you have to navigate of where to intercept it? Not just we're going to hit it, but hit it at the right place so it falls in as empty an area as possible?
Of course, we're trying to do so, and if this is possible, if we can, follow in the Shahed a little more to pass the town or city, of course we're doing it. Because it may not even blown up in the sky, it may go into the ground and blown up there, and it will be a lot of damage.
Yeah, usually navigator tries to orient pilot to if there is village or city under the aircraft. So we try to avoid colliding drones above the cities, but it's really depends on situation. In most of the situations, we try to do our job away from cities and villages.
So those are another question about the big Shaheds. We've seen that Russia has been using more decoys in their launches, and my understanding is that shows up the same on a radar, but when you're flying the interceptors and you're a few feet away from them, are you ever able to tell if something's a decoy versus just a explosive warhead?
Actually, no, but it does not even matter because even if it's decoy, it can bring on it some devices, some recon stuff, or etc. etc. So even if it's not loaded with explosion, you should bring it down just to clear the sky.
Makes sense. And to shift all the way over to the smaller drones, what does interception look like when it comes to the FPVs or even quadcopters? Is that something that you guys work with as well?
Yeah, in my previous career, I was the navigator in a unit for intercepting with quads. Basic idea is pretty the same. You have information from recon group and you just fly in the zone and try to find out where is the target, and then you blow up it.
That sounds really hard. Just all of this sounds hard. Hitting big drones sounds hard. I don't want to downplay that, but at least in the footage, again, sitting here comfortably thousands of miles away, seeing a big Shahed in the air or a big fixed wing drone, that looks difficult. But the way that these FPVs and quadcopters fly, I can't imagine trying to hit that with another drone.
It seems harder than it is. Okay, it is hard when you begin. It is really hard to begin to learn the basics and try to overcome this I don't know, misunderstanding with what you're doing. But eventually, when you are really good at it, it's not that hard.
Yeah, actually, it's not very hardly dependent skill.
It's not extremely hard.
Yeah, it's more about cooperation. So yeah, to hit that target is like minor part of the job.
Listen, I appreciate you guys being humble there. I have a feeling that what you described is incredibly, incredibly hard. Flying a drone to hit another drone is not an easy thing to do. Most people can't even fly drones. So the idea of finding one and then knocking it out of the sky, I think that probably speaks to how much time you've spent doing this. But yeah, fine. If you say it's not the most complicated, I believe you. I just think... Yeah.
But let's be thankful. We're thankful.
Yeah, it's complicated, but it's like something very similar to the climbing the mountain. For somebody, climb the little mountain is very hard, but if you climb the little mountain, Everest, it's not a big deal for you. This is the same. If you do it for a long time, so there will be a result, and it's quite damn hard result.
Yeah, get good at it. The kind of big picture here, we're seeing that both Ukraine and Russia are employing drones and then counter-drone technologies. Is there anything, do you have a mechanism or a way to share what you're seeing with, maybe it's within the own unit? You know, you don't have to give an example here, but let's say that you're having a hard time intercepting a certain type of drone. Do you have people in your unit you can share that with so then they can start using that in an offensive capacity? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, of course. You?
Oh, no, maybe you.
It's crucial part to share information. It's very important because we have some of the ways to exchange experience, and it's always somebody will already bump into this problem usually. So if you have some difficulties, it's always good to share with somebody. Yeah, there is a lot of cooperation between units, between different platoons, and we try to exchange information about interception.
That's awesome. Well, the last one here, guys, was from a channel subscriber, and it's a little bit different, but I'm interested to hear the answer here. He wanted to know what your plans are, what you plan to do when the war is over.
I think all of us wanted to rebuild a country again, rebuild institutions, rebuild the systems that work. Maybe to do even better. I think we can.
Yeah, there will be a lot of job after the war here, but I try to not think about it. This murky future, you know, we have job to do right now.
I understand. Yeah. Well, hopefully that's something you guys can have to think about here before too long. Would love for this to wrap up soon. But Victor, Mortimer, Skyzer, thank you guys so much for taking the time and walking through all of this. Despite you playing it down, I'm convinced that you have really, really, really hard jobs, and it's really impressive to see what you've been able to do. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for taking the time, and be well, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you a lot for helping.
So thank you again so much to Mortimer, Skyzer, 429th Achilles, and Ziga's Paw for helping put this interview together. This is a very sensitive subject. It's one that's hard to talk through from the Ukrainian military perspective, just because there's so much there that could be exploited if the wrong information or the wrong data is made public. Now, in this case, we ran this interview through the 429th after it was recorded to make sure that there was no sensitive information that could be exploited. But, you know, it's hard to get a lot of detail about these interception operations. So anything like this, to me at least, is incredibly valuable. But thank you again to everyone for taking part and helping put this together. If interested and able, the link to contribute to the ongoing fundraiser to help these guys get more interceptor drones will be linked in the description below. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.